So we are coming to you live here from the Jimmy Powell Oval in West Bay. Beautiful sunshine here. Chillies up against Northwestern. Earlier, Northwestern won the toss. Decided to bat first. So we have umpire Hewitt and umpire Young doing the match. So the umpires are out in the middle and the batsman heading out. So we're looking forward for a very excited match this afternoon. We have two strong teams here. Chillies against Northwestern. Opening for Northwestern, you have Patrick Aaron. Brilliant sunshine here in West Bay at the Jimmy Powell Oval. As we're looking forward for a very excited match. Seems like it will be Edwards who will be opening the bowling from the pavilion end. And he will be bowling to Patrick Aaron. So it's Edwards marking out this crease. Let's run up here. And he will be bowling to the left-handed Patrick Aaron. We have one slip, someone at square leg. As we wait for the first delivery to be bowled here at the Jimmy Powell Oval this afternoon. Brilliant sunshine. Outfield looking spectacular. Strong breeze here at the Jimmy Powell Oval. So it's Chillies up against Northwestern. As Edwards runs away from us here at the pavilion and passes umpire Young Ingham bowl to Patrick, and Patrick hitting that one over cover, and it trickles away into the boundary for 4. So the first delivery of the match is it over covers and trickles into the boundary. So he's off the mark. He's on 4, and it's 4 without loss here at the Jimmy Powell Oval. So as Aaron circles again, Edwards runs away from us here, passes umpire Young. And he come bowl to Patrick and he's hit on the pad there and the ball trickles back to Edwards, who picked up, turn around and headed back to the top of his mark. So it's 4 without loss here at the Jimmy Powell Oval. So it's Edwards. And he runs away from us again. Passes umpire Young and he come bowl to Aaron and Aaron again going over square the ball, running away to the boundary, and that will be another boundary. So Patrick is off to a good start here. He's on 8. The scores move on to 8 without loss. And we are in the first over. So Aaron is on 8. 8 without loss. Northwester. So Edwards, he's back at the top of his mark. Runs away from us here at the pavilion and passes umpire Young and he comes again, bowl to Patrick and Patrick driving down the ground again, and that will go away into the boundary again for another 4. So it's now 12 without loss here at the Jimmy Powell Oval as Patrick Aaron moves on to 12 and he's taking the charge here to Edwards. So a beautiful shot straight down the ground there into the boundary for 4. And it seems like Aaron is having a little problem there. Maybe having some cramps. So good start here from Northwester. We are in the first over. It's 12 without last. There's a little delay in play as Aaron gets some attention here. Hope everything will be okay. So as we have a break in play, as Aaron receives some attention. So we have Wyatt and Aaron who open the batting for Northwester. And as Patrick Aaron circles back as Edwards again runs away from us here, passes umpire Young, and he comes bowl to Aaron who is flashing again and he's bowled! He's bowled by Edwards. Good combat there by the bowler. He's bowled, comprehensively bowled by Edwards. So it's 12 for 1 here at the Jimmy Powell Oval as Aaron goes bowled by Edwards for 12. So a good comeback here from the bowler. Aaron who has his middle stump hit out of the ground. So good comeback there from Edwards here at the Jimmy Powell Oval. So we are coming to you live here from the Jimmy Powell Oval in brilliant sunshine. We are still in the first over. The score is 12 for 1. The new batsman is Sunil. And he will be taking strike from Edwards. As they have a change in the field here. Now we have a slip, a fine leg on the boundary. Cover. We have a square leg. As Edwards moves away from us again. Passes umpire Young and he come ball to Sunel and Sunel is struck on the pad. There's a loud appeal. Umpire said not out and there's a shy at the stump and we have in a mix up here. But he get back home safely. Leg by signal by the umpire. So the scores move on to 13-1. So it's 13-1 at the end of the first over. Wyatt is on north, Sunil on north. So we have the first over complete. So it will be Sashino picking up the attack. And he will be bowling to Sunil as he passes umpire Hewitt. Comes in ball to Sunil who is slashing at that one. As he went over the head of the fielder there, picked up by Dar, who send the return into the keeper. Scores move on by 1. So it's now 14-1 in the second over. So it will be Sashin who will be bowling to Wyatt. Will face in his first delivery as Sashin passes umpire. You think come bowl to Wyatt and Wyatt is choking that one. Picked up there cleanly by the fielder. And there's no run. Score remain on 14-1. Sashin, top of his mark, turns. Runs in, passes umpire Hewitt, and he comes ball to Wyatt who is swinging, misses outside the half stump, taken by the keeper. And there's no run. Score remains on 14-1. Sashin, in he comes, passes umpire Hewitt, he comes ball to Wyatt who is playing and missing again outside the half stump. Beaten by Sashin there. Good delivery. So now come down to have a word with Wyatt. So a relatively good start here at the Jimmy Powell Oval. It's Sashin who runs in, passes umpire Hewitt. He come bowl and Wyatt plays that one down to the third man area. Picked up by Edwards. Sends the return into the keeper. So Wyatt is off the mark. He's on 1. Scores move on to 15-1. It's 15-1 here in the second over. Bowled by Sashin. Sashin, as he passes Hewitt, comes in. He bowls to Sunil who is driving down the ground. Picked up there by Demar. There's no run. That's the end of this second over here. 15 for 1. Both batsmen and one. We have a nice breeze here blowing across the field. Pretty decent crowd here. And it will be Edwards. Will continue from the pavilion end. And he will be bowling to Wyatt. Wyatt, who is on 1. Score 15 for 1. As Edwards runs away from us, passes umpire Young, and he bowl, and Wyatt is driving. Picked up there by Sachin. There's no run. So the score remains on 15 for 1 in the third over. Third over bowled by Edwards. As he's at top of his mark. Runs away from us here. Passes umpire Young. And he go bowl to Wyatt. And Wyatt is hit on the pad. There's a loud appeal. Not out, says the umpire, as that one actually pitched outside the leg stump. There's no run. So the score remains on 15 for 1 in the third over. Edwards. As he runs away from us here at the pavilion and passes umpire Young, bowl to Wyatt, who dabs that one down to third man. Fielder comes around, picks up, return to the keeper. They picked up a single. Move the scores on to 16 for 1. As it will be Sonel who will be facing Edwards. As Edwards, he runs away from us here, passes umpire Young, and he come ball to Sonel, who get a full toss and plays it away. Picked up another single. Actually leg by signal by the umpire there, so it's 17 for 1. It's 17 for 1 here at the Jimmy Powell Oval. As Edwards runs away from us, bowling to the left-handed Wyatt. And he comes on Wyatt's. Hear that one, and as it runs away towards the boundary. Good stop there by the fielder. They take 2. They turn for the third, which they complete successfully. So 3 more to the score. The score moves on to 20 for 1. Wyatt, he moves on to 5. So it's 20 for 1. We are in the third over here at the Jimmy Powell Oval. As Sonel waits. Edwards runs away from us. Passes umpire Young. He bowled to Sonel, who is driving, beaten outside the half stump there. And there is no run. At the end of the over, it's 20 for 1. End of the third over, 20 for 1. Northwester. So what is relatively an even start here? Sashin, he will continue bowling and he will be bowling to Wyatt. In he comes. About his run, dead ball signal by the umpire. Wyatt, as he awaits Sashin, who runs away from umpire Yovit. He comes ball to Wyatt, who is driving. Good stop there by the fielder square. Brilliant stop. Prevent a single. Keep the score on 20 for 1. We are in the 4th over. As Sashin. In he comes. Ball to Wyatt, who is struck on the pad. There's an appeal. A shy at the stump. Misses. Well, there's 1 run. Scores move on to 21 for 1. Now we have Sunil. We have a slip in place for Sunil. As Sashin comes in bowl to Sunil, who is hitting that one down the ground as Demar comes around, picks up. They take a single. Scores move on by 1 to 22. It's 22 for 1 in the 4th over. So it's Wyatt. And he'll be facing up to Sashin as Sashin comes in past umpire Yoit and he drives that one into the covers, picked up there by the fielder. There's no run. Score remains on 22 for 1. So it's Sashin again. Comes in, passes umpire Yoit, ball to Wyatt again, who drives it back to the cover. There's a fumble there and there's a mix-up, but he got back safely. So there is no run. Score remains on 22 for 1 in the 4th over. As Wyatt, he circles again. Sashin, top of his mark, turns, runs in, passes umpire Yoit. In he comes, ball to Wyatt, who is pulling that one. And that one will go into the boundary now for 4. So brilliant shot there by Wyatt, who get a short delivery and hooked it away into the boundary for 4. So the scores move on to 26 for 1. So it's 26 for 1 in the 4th over. So Wyatt, he moves on to 10. So it's 26 for 1 after 4.
Hey Dennis, just joining the commentary now. This is another lovely day for cricket here in West Bay, and Northwestern team got off to a nice solid start. And how is it going here, Dennis?
Yeah, looking pretty good here. A solid start so far.
Seems to be a very, very nice wicket. Good wicket for batting. If a batsman decides to settle down, it'll be a big score, I think, from this point on.
Yeah, we're looking in the region of 170, 175.
I think the key to Northwestern to getting a good score would have been the wicket of Patrick Heron, who has been in pretty good form over the last few weeks and got out earlier. Seems to have picked up an injury to his right arm. But I think that made a significant difference in the power play for Northwestern, and hopefully the injury is not as bad as it looks. But I know Heron is a key man for the Northwestern team. However, Sunil and young Wyatt seems to be settling things down right now.
Yes, and it is Edwards who is continuing bowling to Wyatt. In he comes ball, and Wyatt is defensively back to the bowler who picks up.
So
And
good
there's
to
no
see-
run.
So good to see a young cricketer looking so technically correct. You know, cricket nowadays is just they're playing the T20 cricket, so young cricketers don't really get to develop. But young Wyatt looks pretty good. What do you say, Dennis?
Yeah, he seems to have all the shots in the book, and he's very technical
Yeah,
as he tried to push his team. He's now facing up to Edwards, who runs away from us. And he comes ball to Wyatt, and Wyatt play and misses outside the half stump there.
lovely delivery there from
So
Edwards.
taken by the keeper. There's no score.
And Edwards seems to be bowling quite well. He started out with a loosener outside the off stump to Heron, who smashed it for 4 of the first ball of the innings. But since then, Edwards has settled down and has bowled a pretty good line and length. And so far, his figures are looking pretty good since that first ball. But now he's deciding to go around the wicket to the left-handed Wyatt. And there's a change in the field with the man coming around to the slip cordon. But yeah, difference, Edwards going pretty well.
Yeah, as he runs in and ball to Wyatt again, who is on the back foot and just punching back that one, picked up by Dar. And there's no run. Yeah, Edwards, he start off with a boundary in his first delivery, but he has come back very well.
Agreed.
And Patrick picked up a bit of injury, and he was bowled by Edwards. So good going. Wyatt again trying to pull that one.
You know, Dennis, just
Picked up by
looking at this wicket, it looks like the kind of wicket where you really want to be bowling back of a length on this wicket. You don't really want to be too full because it looks like you can hit through the line pretty easily. And I guess with this field, square boundaries, fairly big square boundaries, you would want to be, especially to batsmen, like Wyatt, for example, you want to be hitting the ball into the wicket, let him play square of the wicket. I think that's a better plan for the team.
Yeah, I agree. This wicket is playing through where you can play your shots, so you don't want to be too full. Mostly back of a length on this wicket.
At this stage, it looks a solid start there from Northwester. We've got Wyatt settling in there nicely and foiled by the explosive Sunil, who we know at any given time can go berserk on the bowling. So I'm thinking Northwestern are hoping that Sunil will find his range in very near the overs to come. But so far, a pretty solid start. But again, this wicket is a wicket. You just got to be a little bit patient and bowl, hit your areas, back of a length, just to make sure that you're not getting too full, giving the batsman not too much room. Is one of those wickets. So change of bowler. We have Kieran, who is now coming on from the far end here in the Jimmy Powell Stadium. He's meticulously changing around his field placement to the left-handed Wyatt. Seems to be a ring on the offside. A man behind short third man and a backward point, a man at square cover and a man at cover. And he comes in now, bowls to Wyatt, who is on the front foot, just tucking that one into the onside, and seems to be a quick, sharp run. Sunil was in danger for a minute, but got there safely in the end. Wyatt moves on for another one to his score.
So yeah, Wyatt, he moves on to 11. The score is 29 for 1. Over the power play. So it's will be Kieran bowling to Sunil as he comes in bowls, and Sunil is playing expansive shot outside the half stump.
And Dennis, that's
misses.
just the area there. Just the length that you want to be bowling at that pace that Kieran is bowling. It's sort of back of a length on the surface. Let batsman cut and pull. You don't really want him to be hitting. That's sort of the area right there. And I think that length on this wicket is probably the best way to go, the best tactic to go with.
Yeah, you don't want to be too full to Sunil, or you don't want to give him too much room. So I think Kieran He's find a good area as he comes and bowl again, and
And that's just
that
real good
one
bowling.
deflected down to the long half here.
That's just really good bowling
They
as
picked
well.
up another single there, so it's 30 for 1.
That's just excellent bowling so far this over. 3 deliveries that hitting that lovely back of the length area, asking the batsman to manufacture something square of the wicket, and so far so good. Just a little bit of room there, just as we were saying, full with room is just not the way to go on this wicket. That's a beautiful shot by Wyatt to deserve the 4 runs. A beautiful shot, square drive, square of the wicket, and that's a lovely shot to. I thought Kieran was going well in this over, but that's a loosener from him outside the off stump. Full delivery. It's not the way to go on this surface, and Wyatt just cashing right there.
Yeah, very poor delivery there from Kieran. As we are saying before, you cannot be too full on this wicket, giving too much room, and he take full advantage of it.
It's so good to watch a young player coming into his own. Kieran is back to his original length. He started out in the over. So just one really poor delivery, and I think that's the over. But one really poor delivery. As you can see, it's very clear that this surface is not a surface that you want to be too full, because it gives the batsman so many options. If the wicket is nice and true, so you probably want to, with these fairly large square boundaries, be back of a length and ask the batsman to be hitting square of the wicket. That's the best tactic on this surface. So far, Kieran bowled a decent over, but that one delivery outside the off stump and young Wyatt cashing in, square driving him for 4, which proves the point that we were trying to make earlier. However, we're end of the power play, and the scores are now 34 for 1 after 6 over. Nice solid start by Northwestern, and I think they won't be too worried at this stage because they do have good batting to come. And Sunil is still at the crease, and Wyatt will probably look to anchor or to bat as deep into this innings as possible. And it looks like Larry, who is coming on now to bowl from the Jimmy Powell end, and he is wearing number 32? 234? That's 234. Larry is bowling with his customary hat. Doesn't really take his hat off when he's bowling. And now the bowl to Sunil, who is pretty set at this stage. Bowls to Sunil, back of a length, good length again. I think the CSK team have worked out, the Chillies team has worked out exactly the length to be bowling on this wicket, because yet another delivery, back of a length, asking the batsman to manufacture something, and this is a good tactic here by the Chillies team. I see Captain Demar in the cover area pointing to the man at mid-wicket to come a little bit straighter, and so far his tactic has worked out. They have got away so far after the power play. Wide of the stumps, and Wyatt just stroking that one into the offside to Captain Demar Johnson, who is squeezing in a little bit tight there in the cover area, but Larry's getting an inch a little bit too full for me. That's a much better length, and that's 2 dot balls in this over, so not a bad start by Larry. The CSK tactic seems to be working so far. And for some protection on the onside, he's asked, looks like Pete, to drift off into deep backward square. So I'm assuming he's going back to that back of a length. Excellent length there by Larry again. It's a wonderful, wonderful tactic here by the Chillies team, I think, Dennis. And it's showing that they're thinking about the game, thinking about the wicket that we're playing on. And it's really good to see tactically being executed. And a little bit full there, I think Wyatt may have missed out on that occasion. On the flip side of what we're saying is that if the bowling team is going to be bowling this tactic, then as a batting unit, you've got to be quick to cash in when the bowler misses his mark. Because on that occasion, Wyatt was there and the ball was tossed up to him. I think when those balls come your way, you've got to cash in. And that's the key to making the score on this ground. If you're going to be bowling back of a length, you want to be making sure you're ticking the score over, but as soon as the bowler misses mark, you want to be cashing in every time. Because otherwise you're going to end up in a situation like that where you're trying to manufacture a shot off the ball back of a length. So anyway, good going so far by the Chillies team and solid batting still. I don't think the game is it's evenly balanced at the moment. No advantage really been taken at this point, but good game of cricket, I believe, lined up for the rest of the day.
Yes, I believe the dismissal of Aaron. Chillies have pulled it back nicely in the power play. Well, you know how devastating Aaron can be. So I think it's evenly balanced at this time. It's 36 after 7. And
as you can see from the scorecards that Heron was on 12 runs off 5 deliveries, so he got off to a massive flyer, scoring at over 200% strike rate. And he's the kind of batsman that would have gone on at that similar rate right through the innings, which would have made a huge difference to where Northwestern would have ended up. So I believe that Chillies may have done themselves a world of good by getting rid of Aaron that early. I know Northwestern is sort of in a rebuilding phase, sort of, but still not hanging in the balance, I believe. Again, another delivery tossed up, which I think as long as the deliveries are tossed up on this wicket, you've got to figure out how to cash in. Either you're going to be picking the gaps or you're going to be going aerial. And there's loads of gap in the outfield, so you've got to make use of it. So I think from a tactical perspective, Northwestern will need to be careful that they're not going to be giving up their advantage, having so many wickets in hand and playing that cautious in the early stages of this innings. Again, another delivery just been tucked into the offside. So another. I don't believe that Northwestern are playing this period of play very well, because if you think about it, there's loads of gap in the outfield. If you want to go aerial, there's an opportunity. It's not like the ball is doing much off the surface. It just takes a little bit of skill. So I'm hoping that they will make some adjustments. I'm all for good cricket anyway. So
yeah, I think they will have to, try and make use of those gaps. Try and go over the top.
Again, another ball dragged into the onside. I think Sunil just losing his shape there. The ball tossed up, and I think at this stage Chillies seems to be comfortable with how things are going. Almost 8 overs now, and still 30 something, 41 runs on the board. So I don't think they're too worried at this stage. I believe that they have things in check. It's a good length again by Kieran. And anyway, misfield there by the man at short third man. But again, a good over, I believe. No boundaries conceded. And I think right now we'll have to say that Chillies is sort of feeling pretty good about where they are. And Northwestern will need to figure out how to get out of this a bit of a bund at this moment and figure out how to be. I think the mistake that Northwestern is making is that they're not turning over the strike often enough and then basically not cashing in on those balls that are tossed up. So right now, a nice partnership going at 30 runs, but 43 deliveries. And we know on a wicket that's this good in T20, that's probably not good enough for this stage, and there's only 1 wicket down. And I just think tactically, Chillies have played a gem of a little bit of a cameo here, because Northwestern has stalled somewhat. And now we see the ball is tossed up and Sunil has gone aerial and it's in the air and it's caught brilliantly by the skipper. What a lovely catch that was by Demar Johnson. One of the better fielders on this Chillies team anyway, and he's taking an absolute blinder on the boundary. It's a brilliant catch, and Sunil going. So here again, Dennis, after all this work, then now to get out at this stage after getting set, will put Northwestern in a spot of bother.
Yes, this will set them back on the back foot, so to speak.
Yeah,
Sunil was just about to let loose, but a brilliant catch there from the skipper. Got rid of him, so yeah. Chillies looking pretty good at this time.
I believe we have to say advantage Chillies at this point. I think Sunil after making putting in the hard work and grinding out a 30-run partnership there with Wyatt should have been the man to increase the scoring rate. And now he's gone, so now you have to sort of rebuild again, which is putting a real damper on the progress of this innings by Northwestern. And I believe they have to probably rethink maybe the batting order from this stage. It's a good wicket to bat on. You just really need someone to settle down and take control of what they're doing. But so far, so good for Chillies. Again, Larry's tossing that one up on the leg stump and just tucked into the onside by Omar Willis, who has come to the crease. Another player that has been in good form over the last few weeks and comes to the crease now to join Wyatt, who has been there from the start. So minor changes to the field now. A ring on the offside, and Larry goes in and bows to Wyatt, who is wide outside the off stump. Not a full delivery, that's driven for one. And I am thinking now that Northwestern really needs to figure out how to score off these full deliveries. There are quite enough on offer here, and they should be scoring at a much faster rate than what is going on at this point. And it's a quick single taken there. Good fielding by the fielder, and the umpire is gone. He's gone. Wyatt is run out. I thought that was a dangerous single to take, and it was right. And Wyatt is now, after all the hard work, advantage Chillies again. And Wyatt is run out. He had to respond to the call of his partner, and I think that was just a poorly judged run there, because the run was just not on, was it, Dennis?
No, there was no run there. And so Wyatt goes run out. And he was a pretty set batsman there. So this even sets Northwestern further back as they lose their third wicket. And we are now in the ninth over.
And the innings is just not going anywhere at this point. And so we have two new players at the crease, and this is not the situation that Northwestern was thinking about at the start when Heron started off. And now, two new batsmen at the crease. Both may want to get some old balls in to get going before they can start to attack again. And this is playing perfectly into Chillies' hands, I think. That's a pretty close. That's a good shout. That's a really good shout by Larry. And I think Gregory, who has just come to the crease, is probably been fortunate there. That looked pretty adjacent. The umpire says not out, so maybe just sliding down the leg side a little bit. And Larry is bowling a pretty good spell at the moment. He's gotten rid of the dangerous Sunil, and then he's got now Gregory on the back foot, and then a run out and he's over. So his spell is going pretty well so far. He's back again. So good deliveries tossed up to Gregory, who smashes this one down the ground for a single, and so another over completes, and I'm pretty sure we can safely say that Chillies is in the driver's seat at this point, and probably feeling the more confident of the two teams. And I believe that for Northwestern to get this going, they may have to send the pretty explosive Troy Taylor, who is slated to come further down the innings, to come in at, probably he's going to be in next. I'm seeing on the team sheet, he's slated to come in next, and that's going to be the key moment, I think. If Chillies can keep these two guys quiet and get Troy Taylor at the crease with the team under a bit of pressure, and then he has to go from the onset, then I think that will put Northwestern's innings into big problems, because Troy Taylor would be a key man down at the lower or the back end of the innings. So the less that's on the board, the more pressure Troy will be under, and I think that's what will play well into Chillies' hands. Again, another good delivery. That length seems to be the length that really works on this surface. Back of a length, asking the batsman to play square of the wicket. Seems to be the tactic here being employed by Chillies, and it seems to be so effective so far. But on the flip side, Dennis, I would say that they have given enough options with tossed up a few deliveries, and I just believe Northwestern didn't take advantage, right?
Yeah, and this wicket pretty good for batting. So I think they should have taken more advantage of those loose delivery, those pitch top delivery.
Again, another full delivery that Gregory's playing off the back foot, which I think another area that they may need to look into. If for Northwestern to get a good total, they really will have to be a little bit more positive, looking to attack the bowlers when they're missing their length. Otherwise, it's going to be a struggle to get a good score that's going to be defendable on such a good pitch. Another lovely delivery there on the offside, off stump, back of a length again. And you can see the big difference, Dennis. Whenever the deliveries are in that area, that general back of a length area, the batsman seems to be caught in two minds. They're not sure where to play the delivery, and that's been very good from Chillies so far. Another push into the offside, that's no run. Gregory turns Omar back. After seeing what happened with Wyatt, I'm pretty sure he has no intentions of taking those quick singles on the inside of the circle here at this point.
Yeah, very good over so far.
That's much better batting there, Omar. Getting to the pitch of the ball.
Yeah, going
Gregory's pretty quick, and it's a quick, easy two singles in the end. And another run is on here, an overthrow. I don't think that was good cricket there from Chillies, because we had at least two players backing up there. And the ball still found its way outside the circle for an extra run. And Omar comes back for 4 runs? Did they run 4? Wow, okay. So they run 4 runs, which I'm not sure Captain Demar Johnson would be too happy. Again, Kieran on that back of a length. It's a lot of lovely over, other than the 4 runs that could have not been in the end. I believe that's another win for Chillies. And I think that Northwestern really need to rethink this innings at this point.
Yes, it's now 50 for 3, and we're in the 10th over. So pretty slow going here by Northwestern.
I
think then,
at this point we're at a score of 120, 130.
Yeah, just about 125, 130.
And I'm telling you, Dennis,
at this rate.
I don't believe that is defendable on this score. I don't see how you're going to protect a very explosive batting lineup like Chillies, protect 125 to 130 runs. It's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, with the like of Baker and those guys sashing.
I agree. I think it's going to be a score of 145, 150 is probably the minimum you want to be at on this sort of surface. Again, another back of a length delivery. Asking the batsman to play square of the wicket. Omar pulling that one into the onside. They only went for a single. Demar doing the work on the boundary. And Larry's bowling quite well, and be interesting to see how many dot balls he has bowled as well. Again, another dot ball for Larry. I think that this spell is unassumingly going very, very well. We didn't anticipate he would be a key man in this lineup, but so far so good from Larry. Again, another good delivery, excellent length. Well played by Gregory, but again, a single, just a single.
Yeah, I think them allow Larry to settle. And now that he's settled in his bowling, it's very difficult to get him away. So I think Northwestern just play this into their own hands. Why not attacking more?
I agree.
Making more aggressive shots.
Again, he's into his third over now. Another dot ball. He's into his third over. Only 8 runs and taking a wicket. And to me, at this stage of the game, that's really, really important to putting the brakes on this Northwestern run chase. Another dot ball to finish his over, and Larry is going really well. So 3 overs completed by Larry, and he is now just only 8 runs, Dennis, and that is amazing at this stage on such a good wicket, a good batting surface. 8 runs, 1 wicket, 3 overs. That's a brilliant spell so far.
Yeah, Larry is going well so far. And I think tactically, Chillies is doing well. Placement.
And as I said earlier, I think the key to this is just the length that they're bowling. And I don't know if Captain Demar had a talk with his bowlers, but it's definitely a tactic. We can see that the ball, they're deliberately bowling back of a length. That's sort of the area that's been effective. Another dot ball. And I believe we can safely say that the Northwestern innings is stalled somewhat at this stage. There hasn't been any boundary for quite some time now. And Chillies is really, really putting on a good display here. That one is pulled into the onside, and a lovely catch there by Demar Johnson, the captain doing the work himself. And that's what pressure does, Dennis. You put dot balls and you get a lot of dot balls, a lot of pressure situations, and the next thing you know, the batsman is going to try to manufacture something, and then you get the wicket. And that's key, I think, so far.
Yes, that is pure pressure applied by the bowlers and the fielders. And now Simit is out.
We must give some credit to Chillies' team, though. We must give credit. I think for the last maybe 6 or 7 overs, it's just been disciplined bowling and hitting back of a length, that hitting those areas and asking the batsmen to manufacture shots. And I think that's been so important to creating that pressure that's now allowing them to take more wickets. And the new batsman to the crease is, looks like McCuffey. I got that right? Ramel Mighty to the crease. And I haven't seen him before, but what do you know about this player, Dennis? I haven't personally seen him back before.
Well, it's the first time I've seen him. So he look a very powerful lad.
Yeah, he walks out very
So,
well-chested fella. Tall
I
guy.
think Northwestern needs someone now to, get some boundaries.
I would have thought Troy Taylor would have been the key man at this stage, but Mighty seems to be sent out there to maybe hit a few mighty sixes, maybe. But hopefully he can get the job done for Northwestern. But he looks a massive unit, and he takes his strike to Kieran up front, and he's positively on the back foot. Does look a good player. Shapes up quite well. As I said, I haven't seen him, so I must confess I'm excited to see what he's going to bring to this game.
Yeah, he seems to have a good balance. Kieran
Again, he
comes
goes
in.
right away, and he's made his intentions clear. I think his job is probably just to get some momentum on this innings, Dennis. And I think you could see from the way he shaped up that he's sent there to maybe get a few powerful blows in, bring the scores back up a bit, and get this innings with a little bit of momentum.
Yeah, Northwestern needs some life in this innings, and I hope that's what he brings as Willis come forward.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good ploy there by Omar. I think both batsmen need to go at this stage. It's 11 overs. That's a good wicket to bat. Omar is also a very accomplished player, and I believe he has the ability to also go after the bowling, so probably should take charge at this stage. Again, Mighty hitting that one down the wicket positively, and seems to, with the plan of hitting the ball, is probably losing his shape a little bit. And I think the key is to play cricket shots on this surface. There's really no need to muscle the ball. You really just need to be playing cricket shot. There's a good wicket to bat on. So even if you're going to hit the ball straight down the wicket, just get in line, keep your head nice and still, and hit through the line of the ball is the way to go. And as a matter of fact, Heron showed in the very first over, how easy it is when you keep your positioning and your shape and hit through the line of the ball, that you could get good results. So I think Mighty should really reconsider trying to muscle the delivery and just play normal cricket shots.
Yeah, he just need to hold his shape. and play through the line. Those pitch top deliveries. But as I said, the Chillies guy are bowling back of a length, not giving anything away at this time. As Larry's continue, he's to Mighty, who is back, playing back that to the bowler. There's no run.
Larry here now into his fourth and final over, and he's been doing a fantastic job so far. Bowled a wide here, but so far his team, his captain, will be very, very pleased with his efforts. It's now 3.1 deliveries. He's only gone for, at this stage, maybe 10 runs off his 3 overs, and that is fantastic considering the context of the game. Again, Omar going down the pitch, chipping that one through the onside, and Larry on his second delivery is now 3.2 overs at 10 runs, so that's pretty good going. Again, back of a length by Larry. This is just fantastic cricket. This is tactically very, very good from Chillies, Dennis, and really good to watch, because when you play the game, you tend to want to see tactics being executed, and this has been done to perfection. I'm just thinking that maybe Northwestern could be a little bit more proactive, but I have to give credit to Chillies for employing this tactic that seems to be working so well.
Yeah, and it's now 60 for 4.
Big swoosh outside the off stump by Mighty. I think Mighty may be missing the trick here. There is really no reason to try and overhit the ball. It calls for good cricket shots. Nice and still, keep your eyes on the ball and hit the ball, similar to that. But when you bowl in this back of a lane delivery, it does ask a lot more of the batsman. Larry has now completed his 4 overs for a measly 13 runs or 14 runs. That's amazing, and I think the captain will be very, very happy with that 4-over spell from Larry. He should feel very, very good about what he's done today in the field. That's amazing bowling right there from Larry Dennis.
Yeah, that's what a captain asks from his bowlers. Very good spell there from Larry.
Yeah, and I must correct it.
And he now had Northwestern the back foot.
If you look at the stats
looking
there,
at
Dennis,
this,
4 overs, 13 runs, 1 wicket, so an economy rate of 3.5, considering how Patrick Heron went off on the first 2 overs. That is an amazing spell to come back and bowl for his captain. So Larry should really be proud of himself at this moment. That is fantastic bowling, and I think that has put the lid on Northwestern's innings so far. And now Mighty seems to, the change at the top end, Raman seems to be coming on for Chillies. And Mighty seems to want to still keep going to build some momentum on this innings. Short, down the leg side. I think Mighty may have missed out there. No wide call by the umpire. Oh, it may have just basically brushed the batsman on the way down the leg side. So Raman may have got away with that one. Here he is again. Mighty, this one is up into the slot. Mighty hits that one to wide, long on, and that went for 4. Now this is the first boundary, I would say maybe the last 7 to 8 overs. So this is well needed at this stage, and that's a lovely shot there by Mighty. But again, you can see if the delivery is full, it's very easy to just hit through the line if you keep your shape. And so Raman just missed his length there, and Mighty took advantage of that.
yeah, for sure. That was a brilliant shot there from Mighty, who have shown his intention. He just need to keep his head steady and play proper cricket shots, and he will get the result.
I agree. It's well rewarded if you... I hope he's understanding that, because whenever he tries to muscle the ball, he seems to lose his shape and the shot doesn't come off. So it's holding your shape. Again, you can see there, when he tries to muscle the ball, he doesn't get the connection he requires in order to play the shot. That's good running, though. That's really good running by Mighty and Omar. They've run 3. Raman may have just... This is a key over, I believe, because if Raman tends to get the line and length correctly at this stage. If he misses it, it would be an opportunity for Mighty and Willis to add some momentum to this innings, which is well needed at this stage.
Yeah, and it will be Willis, Waits and Ramon as he comes in, ball to Willis, and Willis muscles that one down the ground, but straight to Johnson. He picks up one.
And that's the length that you don't want to be bowling on this surface. I think if Omar Willis had put a little bit more effort into that shot, he could have easily hit that straight down the side screen for a nice boundary. And another Mighty Mage, as I said, is missing the trick here. If he just keeps his head still and stays in shape, those deliveries, you can easily hit those balls back over the bowler head. Again, he's swinging his head back. And this is just about technique, I think, at this stage. He's trying to hit the ball too hard. And another single, and again, so what could have been more damaging over to Chillies is it turned out to be an okay over. I think this captain just wanted to slip a few overs in there. So Rahman came on to bowl after a very tight spell from Kieran and Larry, and just to keep things going. So now we are seeing the introduction of the leg spinner, and I'm actually excited to see how he's gonna go on this wicket, because it's a sort of pitch that if you put something in it at the length he normally bowls, he gets a lot of bounce. He's a tall guy. It's going to be interesting to see how Mighty go after him, because I think if he doesn't hold his shape, the leg spinner is going to get the ball peeling off the outside edge, and that could be dangerous for Mighty. And so if to hit this leg spinner, you really, because he gets so much bounce, you've got to try and get to the pitch of the ball and hit maybe extra cover area. If you try to hit through the onside, it's just going to peel off the short third man or at somewhere around point region. So it's going to be interesting to see how Mighty goes against this leg spinner, who we know generally gets the ball to turn and bounce quite a bit. Not sure he'll get a lot of turn on this pitch, but his normal action suggests that he will get some turn and bounce.
Yeah, and he will be hitting into a slight wind here at the Jimmy Powell Oval as Dark comes in, bowls wide outside the half stump. Wide signal by the umpire.
You see from that very first delivery, Mighty's looking to hit leg side, and I think that's not the way to go. I'm hoping Omar Willis probably going down to have a word with him to let him know you're better off hitting with the spin on this surface, especially with that strong breeze that's blowing from mid-wicket sides towards the batsman. Hit with the spin over extra cover is the way to go. If you hit across the line, you're just going to peel off the short third man. And I think the leg spinner is quite happy to see him trying to hit leg side. This one is tugged into the onside for a single. Captain Demar running in from the boundary to do the fielding and toss that one back to leg spinner. Dennis, I think as a leg spinner, that might be a little bit too quick. He's bowling. You just need to slow it down a little bit. Like that. That's the way to bowl it. That's the way to bowl on this surface. As you can see how easily it is for the outer half of the bat to become exposed, and the next thing his wicket-taking options are caught a short third man. It's very clear from that delivery. Yeah,
it's very bowl it that slow, then the batsman gonna be trying to hit to the leg side. So he was talking about it peels off to short third man. They got a single, his score move on to 71 for 4.
And we really got to get a momentum going here for Northwestern. It's now 15, it's the 15th over. It's a little bit tossed up delivery there. Again, the bottom hand taking over from that shot from Mighty, and that's been what's been happening for him so far. He's gripping the bat really hard and hitting leg side, when ideally he just needs to stay in shape and hit the ball through the offside, and he'll get more money, more value for his shots. Again, tugged into the onside. And a quick single taken by Omar Willis, attempt there by, looks like Larry, who was picked up that delivery and chanced at the stumps, but the batsman was safely home in the end. Brilliant delivery again. You see that? Well, I know it's out.
He's out.
He's out. And the slower leg spin delivery had Mighty hitting through the onside, missed it completely, got dragged out of his crease, and the keeper did the rest. Dennis, I did not see that coming. I actually thought that the batsman was in his crease.
Brilliant bit of work there by the keeper. Good bowling there from Dar. Got rid of Mighty. So it's now 73 for 5. And we have Troy Taylor.
This is a key moment, I believe, Dennis. And Dar has now picked up that the pace of the wicket is to bowl his leg spinners into the wicket, nice and slow, turning away from the batsman. But I think right this moment is a key moment for Northwestern because Troy Taylor is walking to the crease and a lot is resting on his shoulders now. And he would be the batsman who, if allowed to stay in the crease for some time, can be quite explosive towards the end of the innings. And so it's pivotal now that Chillies maintain this pressure. And Troy Taylor is not, this is not really his game, really. He likes to come in a little bit of free to play his natural game. But right this moment, what's required is that he may need to rebuild for an over or two and then try to get as much as he can off the last 3 overs. Because his wicket, it's going to be a massive problem for the innings of Northwestern.
Yeah, Troy is vital for Northwestern to get in anywhere. Score of 140, 145. He will have to play a special role here. Because we know he can be very destructive if he gets going. He can change the game in 2-3 overs. So the score of 140, 145 this time.
And if you notice, Dennis, Mighty played a lot of shots, but he was still going in less than a run a ball, and that's not good enough for Northwestern at this stage. If for them to get to a good total of 140, 145, they would have had to have been going. Strike rate batsmen would have to be scoring at like 150 thereabouts. But and the real reason that happens is because they were trying to hit the ball too hard, and they didn't really cash in. And the key to this innings is to work the deliveries that are on good length and then make sure that you're in position to hit those deliveries that are full. And I don't think that Northwestern did that effectively enough for the last 8 or so overs.
And he comes in bowl to Willis, who played that one around. They picked up 2. As the scores move on to 75 for 5.
I believe that at this stage, I think Northwestern will be hoping to get to a score of about 130. But I don't believe that that would be even enough, and that's in the best case scenario at this stage. But I don't think that's enough on this surface. Such a good wicket to bat on that, and then with the batting lineup of Chillies, I don't believe that 130 would be enough, and that's still a stretch to get to 130. At the current rate, they're not looking like they're going to get past 120.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor would play a special innings, and I believe Chillies bowlers are keeping it very tight. Very good bowling from the Chillies bowler.
And again, another back of a length delivery that Omar is on the back foot, playing to a delivery that he really just needs to get closer to and play the shot and keep his shape and play the shot. That's not a delivery to be going back at this stage of the innings where you need to be getting some momentum. Again, a tossed up delivery that's dragged on the onside. And easy 2 there. Troy Taylor getting back to the non-striker's end. And I think at this stage, Omar Willis, in order for Troy to get a chance to settle, Omar will need to take charge of this innings. And he does have the ability to do it. It's just a matter of him making sure that he keeps his shape and be a little bit more positive in his approach. there's enough an offer by the bowlers every now and then, just like that delivery. Rahman is tossing the ball up to the batsman, and there's an opportunity to score when the bowler does that.
Yes, they're missing out on these tossed up deliveries. So, to get a formidable score, they will have to make use of these loose delivery. Don't really come frequently from these bowlers. But it's up to Troy Taylor now, who will be facing up to the bowler as he comes in. Bowl to Taylor, who is playing
Bowled
missing,
him.
and he's bowled.
What a lovely delivery that from Rahman. It's back of a length. Troy Taylor got back in his back foot to try and negotiate that ball, and it just quickened up off the surface and cleaned him up. What a lovely delivery. And Rahman is bowled at pitch, as all day he's not been able to beat the bat in that way, but that was a lovely delivery, Dennis.
Yeah, that just had to the misery of Northwestern to lose Taylor at this time, with at least another 3-4 overs to go.
Yeah, as I was suggesting earlier, you don't really want Troy. His game is not to come when the team is on in this situation. You want to set a platform for him. He's most effective when a platform is set, and then you ask him to go and play freely. In this scenario, he's caught in two minds. He's not really going after the bowling, and he's not really trying to play defensive. He's just caught in two minds, not sure whether to go hard or to defend. And the result is that he ends up playing a nothing shot. And even though I'm not taking anything away from the bowler, I believe the key to this innings is that Omar Willis really needs to take charge of this innings in order to get the batsman an opportunity to set. And I don't know if they discussed this, but it was so clear that if Troy Taylor was going to be an important part of this innings, that Omar would need to be the one to take the initiative to make sure he gets a big, massive turn there. That's a lovely delivery. A leg spinner's dream, a drift, bounce, and turn. And now Northwestern is in a spot of bother at, what's that, 80 for 5, for 6, is it? 80 for 5, and it's over number 16. So that's a good shot there by Omar Willis, walking over to the offside and pulling that one behind square, in between the fine leg boundary and the deep backward square boundary for 4. And this is what was required, I think, a bit earlier, Dennis, than now. I think you needed a little bit more initiative and improvising to get some momentum into this innings.
Yeah, you need to get going earlier to take the pressure off the other batsman. And, Troy Taylor, who usually plays his own game, it wasn't his style of batting. So they will have to pick up the space in the other 2 overs to get to 120, which not looking good right now.
But what we're seeing, Dennis, here is a tale of two different teams, basically. Tactically, you could see that Chillies was working on a tactic of bowling into the wicket and asking the batsman to play square of the wicket. But I think, on the other hand, Northwestern didn't tactically approach this innings very well. Otherwise, they would have had some discussions about giving Troy Taylor an opportunity to get set for an over or 2. Listen, this is someone that could easily score you 35 runs, 30 to 40 runs off the last 3 overs. So with him at the crease, there's always an opportunity to still get to 140. Now that he's gone, it's a completely different prospect. And as you can see now, Chillies is even employing a slip cordon, which suggests all you need to know about where they think they are in this game.
Yeah, brilliant bowling there from Dar, keeping the pressure on these Northwestern batsmen as he ready to bowl to Willis, who is trying to go down the ground, chipped it to Edwards, picked up 1. So it's 1 more to the score, which is 86 for 6, 87 for 6.
I believe it's such a massive risk trying to hit against the spin of someone like Dar, who turns the ball so big. So your best bet is to hit with the spin. And if you try to hit against the spin, there's really little value because on the onside there's a very strong breeze blowing from right to left of our screen, and therefore it's a big risk to hit into the wind. And also against the spin, I just don't see much value in doing that. So at this point, if Dar is off his length, you've got to hit over extra cover or look to hit through the offside and open up that area, because that's where the benefit of the shot would be. Like, there's more fielders on the onside waiting for that onside shot. So I'm thinking Omar Willis, who has been there now quite some time, may need to rethink how he's approaching this leg spinner.
Yeah, and Johnson's supposed to be very pleased with his bowlers at this time. They have kept Northwestern under pressure, who was off to a brilliant start courtesy of Patrick. But since his dismissal, seems like Northwestern hard to find it going.
And that seemed like so long ago at this stage, because when we saw the first delivery that got bowled and Heron smashed it for 4 over the offside, we thought, wow, we're going to be in for a big score today. But since that, we've noticed that the length was changed right away by the bowlers, and all of a sudden we looked at different prospect where, you know, Northwestern started to struggle. But I still believe it's more of a tactical mistake on Northwestern, because at the end of the day, you could clearly see what Chillies was trying to do. And if they're bowling the ball into the wicket, and that is what they're playing, then obviously Chillies needed to rethink how they approach the innings, and I think that was where they missed the trick. And they got Northwestern, basically Chillies just got settled into a rhythm, and bowlers like Larry, who was bowled an absolute beauty of a spell, is really the difference between the momentum being picked up for Northwestern and Chillies being so much on top at this stage.
Yes, well said. That's seems like Chillies settled into a game plan. All their bowlers doing well, having some good spell, and they keep the pressure on Northwestern all the way through. Seems like there's a change of ball here by the umpires. So there was a hold up in play, as Northwestern is now on 88 for 6.
What could they realistically get from here that they'll be comfortable with, Dennis? I can't see 120 being a good score on this sort of pitch, which is such a good wicket to bat on.
Well, I think Northwestern right now is way behind the score they should have been. Something for the bowlers to bowl at. They need at least 120 to give their bowlers a chance. So we're looking forward for a few overs to see if they can push the score to at least 120.
I agree. I think at this stage, 120, they'll be happy with that, because it's at least something for the team to bowl at. And you never know. I mean, runs on the board is still runs on the board, but from the looks of this pitch, it's just such a good wicket that you don't believe 120 would be sufficient to be defended against this very good batting lineup from this Chillies team. But again, the reason why we love this sport so much, we could easily say this, and then it turns out that someone has an amazing day and Chillies is unable to get this score. So I'm really excited to see what the second innings brings for us.
This 2020 version is very unpredictable. It can change in a matter of few overs. So we just want to see the score and what Chillies will be able to chase down. But so far it's looking more in favor of Chillies at this time.
I agree. I think Chillies would be the happy of the two teams. And that's primarily because it's such a good wicket, and they have basically executed their plan. To be fair, Northwestern somewhat allowed them to settle into this tactic, because there was just no improvising from the batsmen in order to offset that plan that Chillies was going on with. Because At the end of the day, it was so clear what they were trying to do, and the batsmen just sort of played right into the plan. And I don't think on the Northwestern side that was a good idea. They should have at least been a little bit more innovative and try to disrupt the plans of Chillies. That's a brilliant piece of fielding in the boundary there by, is that Anil? Anil was a lovely bit of fielding on the boundary. That was tricky for say the least because the ball was spinning, kept his eye on it, grabbed it with the left hand, threw it back in. That was brilliant fielding. For another over now, it's over number 18. There's 2 overs to go. The score is 94 at this stage for 6. And I think the Northwestern team would, at this stage, be happy to get to 120, 125. But at this rate, I'm not sure. It depends on how they handle this leg spin. I think they have approached it wrong so far. It's better to hit through the offside, through the turning ball. There's no point in hitting through the onside at this stage. It's a very strong wind. Unless you are to the pitch of the ball, hit with the spin is the better option, I think. And Omar Willis has been there for quite some time now, so he should be picking this up and basically calculating the risk. A bowler that's bowling, turn the ball this big should not even need a backward square at this stage. And he's hitting the ball through the onside, a quick single taken, and they come back for 2. And I think that's a much better option by Omar to hit the leg spinner through the offside. And I'm not even so keen on this field placement because Dar is turning the ball pretty square. And there's a man at deep backward square. It's almost in between fine leg and deep backward square. If he's hitting him down that side, it means that the bowler is bowling too short. But the offside is where I think Omar should be looking to hit this bowler. That's a much better approach through the offside, over cover area, and it's picked up there by the fielder in the deep. But again, much better option, and I'm surprised that they were not employing this tactic much earlier to Dar, who is now settled in and into his final over of this game, and could have gone for a lot more runs had they thought about their approach to him. It's much better to cheat. They've now brought in that man at deep backward square, which I thought was a waste in the first place. But again, a short delivery, that's the only way the ball is going to go behind square. If the bowler decides to drag the ball down, and they come back for 2, again, Dar is now settled in. And at this stage, should have gone for a lot more runs, I think, had Northwestern approached him a lot differently, Dennis.
Yes, for sure. They allow him to settle. They allow him to bowl as he wishes. So, yeah, they should have taken advantage of that field.
Again, hitting through the onside. I'm not sure this tactic, as a matter of fact, it's quite clear that this tactic will not work against the leg spinner. You're going to hit against the spin into the wind, and you're missing the deliveries on top of that. Some common sense got to take over at this stage. The final 2 overs, hit through the offside. It's very, very simple. Again, he tries to hit through the onside. This is just poor batting. I just no other way to describe it.
Yeah, Gale is trying to go leg side and he misses 2 dot deliveries there. And again.
And now there's another dot ball to finish the over. And Dar's got away with one, I think. Some better batting. So Damon Gill swinging through the onside and missing 3 deliveries. It's just not what's required for Northwestern at this stage. And the thoughts and dreams of getting to 120 seems unlikely at this stage unless it's a pretty bad over that's going to final over. So look at the fall. If you could look at the scores now, it's at 99 runs for 6 wickets after 19 overs, a run rate of 5.25, and such a good wicket. And if you look at the bowling of Dar, he's now bowled 3 overs, 1 for 18, and he didn't even settle into his spell I think that we've missed the trick there. Northwestern had missed the trick there, and last over now, and Rahman to bowl, and he bowls that one straight, and Omar tugs it through the onside and takes a quick single. I'm convinced that Northwestern did not approach this innings correctly, Dennis.
Yes, so far they allow the Chillies player to dominate, the bowlers to dominate, and now they are below par. It's now 100
A wide delivery
in
there
the
by Rahman.
20th over. 101, and we're in the final over.
You know, I've seen it, I think, with the aim to hit the ball so hard, the bottom hand is just taking over most of these shots, and they're going nowhere. It was not the way to approach this innings. And they've now inched their way up to 102, and I just don't believe that this is enough on such a good surface. Ken Omar chipping down the pitch and hitting through the onside. Only gets one. Fielding done there by Anil, that's Larry in the boundary, on the boundary in between what we call cow corner. It's not really a mid-wicket, it's not really long on, it's just in between those two fielders. And only 3 deliveries to go. Rahman no. Goes to Gill, who is hitting that one through the offside, and another single. So this is, Chillies is just reducing the boundaries, and this is just fantastic from them. And you have to give credit where credit is due, Dennis.
Yes, sure. Chillies stick to their plans, and it has worked so far. Brilliant stop there by Edwards. That was a brilliant stop there to prevent any run.
And the
Brilliant stop by
big man
Edwards.
diving to his left. He's somewhere around 6'5" tall, so he's a big fella. Diving to his left, picking that one up and returning it, and no run. And now Omar has tugged that one through the onside. That was the last delivery, was it? And he's run out. However, had to go for the run. It's the last delivery. And this innings didn't really get going, Dennis, at all. And I don't believe that Northwestern will be happy with the score of 104 runs.
Well, I think Chillies should be the happier team at the halfway stage with a score of 105. So Northwestern never get going. From the first over, which was after a brilliant start from Patrick, from there on it was just, slow going. Though use up the waste ball from Chillies, which there wasn't much of a loose delivery for all the bowlers stick to their plan, bowling back of a length, bowling into the pitch, and it was just brilliant tactics from Chillies. So they should be the happier one at the halfway stage right now.
And as you can see, the Chillies team is walking off the field. They look pretty confident. I still believe that with some innovation and a little bit more of tactical, astute tactical approach to the innings, Northwestern could have done much better. I just don't believe that they reacted very well to the tactic by Chillies. Bowling the ball into the surface, they were sort of just hoping that Heron would have got going, and then it would be a much easier innings for Northwestern. But as it turns out, that did not happen. And once Heron was out, Chillies just sort of settled into that back of a length tactic, and I think Northwestern just played right into their hands.
Yes, Northwest seems they never have a plan B, and they allow the Chillies bowlers to
So as you can see
hit a good line and length.
So and look at the scorecard of Northwestern, and Wyatt batted well for his 20 and got run out in the end. I think once he was there at the beginning with Heron and was looking to anchor the innings. Heron got off to a flyer. He made 12 runs off 5 deliveries. Seemed to have picked up an injury to his right arm after hitting the ball straight down the ground. We're not quite sure what's the status of that now. However, he got innings after a flyer, and then after that, Sunil and Wyatt sort of settled into less than a runner ball partnership of 30, which came up 43 deliveries, which was not a bad way to go. But at that stage, someone needed to put some impetus on the innings. As it turns out, didn't happen, And Larry bowled a fantastic spell for his 4 overs, only going for 13 runs, and getting the wicket of Sunil, who can be devastating when he gets going, and that sort of put the lid on the innings. And from there on, Omar Willis, batted a run of ball 33. Gregory came in after, didn't really affect the score that much, and in the end, didn't really get to a score of what they think there would be par on this pitch would be about 140, 150. It turns out got to 104. As you can see, the bowling from Chillies, pretty good all round, I believe. Romario Edwards, after being smashed for a 4 off the first delivery of the day, settled in nicely, got rid of Heron with a lovely delivery, swinging back into the batsman, bowled him down, finished his 3 overs, 1 for 16, and then Sachin bowled well as well. His 2 overs went for only 8 runs at the top. And so Kiran, another good spell, 4 overs, 1 for 20. Larry, who was the pick of the bowlers in my opinion, 4 overs, 1 for 13, at an economy rate of 3.25, by far the standout bowler in this innings, and bowled pretty well, Dennis. I think he was the difference in the momentum for Northwestern. I think he put a lid on it.
Yeah, excellent spell there from Larry, who kept the pressure on Northwestern all the way.
Again,
Chipped in with a very good spell. Edwards doing well.
Raman also, in the end, the backing of the innings, and Dar, in my opinion, may have been allowed to settle in more than they should have. I think Northwestern could have attacked their bowling a little bit better. Raman started off with a lot of full deliveries that on this pitch you just can't afford to miss out on, and that means that when they missed out on the good deliveries, on those bad deliveries, the good deliveries were even more difficult to get away. And I think Dar and Raman ended up bowling a pretty good 8 overs between the 2 of them to finish off the innings, and as you can see, 104 runs on the board now. And I think the only positive I would say is that it's runs on the board, and Northwestern does have a good bowling unit, regardless of how good this pitch is. But at the end of the day, I just believe a cool wicket like this, all Northwestern needed to do was to just add some impetus into the innings, and they would have scored 130 to 140. As it stands now, Chillies just needs to play within the normal cricket and get to a score of 104. There's really no demons in the wicket at all. So I expect this to be, if Chillies can approach this innings sensibly, they should win this game.
Yes, and as I said, Northwest are going to need wickets, and I'm going to need wickets early to apply some pressure to the Chillies team. But you know what pressure can do. The runs is already on the board. So getting a few early wickets can, have a little difference in this game.
So 105 to win. Dennis, it was an absolute pleasure working with you. I'm going to hand over the mics and head to do some other duties on the field, but a lovely day of cricket. It was a pleasure doing this first half with you, and I don't know, who knows, maybe I'll join you in the second half, all being well. Thanks again.
Okay, you're welcome, and it's a brilliant day here at the Jupiter Powell Oval. We still have brilliant sunshine here, and as we go into the break, here at the Jimmy Powell Oval, looking forward for the reply by Chillies. So for now, we just say stay tuned. We'll be back shortly with the second half of this match. Welcome back here to the Jimmy Powell Oval in West Bay as we look for the start of the Chillies innings. Chasing a mere 105 for victory against Northwestern. It seems like we'll be having Gale opening the bowling from the Jimmy Powell Oval end. Yeah, it will be Gale, and he will be bowling from the pavilion end, and he will be bowling to Baker. Oh, still brilliant sunshine, breeze going across as Gale passes umpire Young, bowl wide outside the half stump. Wide signal by the umpire. So Gale started off with a wide, so the score is 1 without loss. This is a match where you don't want to give away too much extras. You don't have much to play with. As Gale passes umpire Young, and he come bowl to Baker, and Baker flashing that one square drive outside the half stump, and it's through the field and into the boundary for 4. That one went straight through the legs of Sunil there on the boundary, and that's the first boundary of the innings scored by Baker. So it's 5 without loss, chasing 105 for victory. So good start there by Chillies. It was a wide delivery outside the half stump and duly dealt with by Baker as Gale passes umpire Young again into Baker, who is playing that one again, passes the fielder there. Sunil comes around, picks up, they complete a second. Move the score on to 7. It's 7 without loss. And we are in the first over here. So it's Baker who is facing up to Gale now as Gale comes in bowl and Baker flashes outside the half stump. Went through to the keeper and there's no run. So earlier today you have Paramount defeating CSK. It's Gales who runs away from us. Bowl to Baker and Baker defense. Ball into the offside. And there is 1. Oh, there's another run to Baker. Score moves on to 8. 8 without loss. In the first over bowled by Gale. As the fielder moves around for the left-handed Sachin. Sachin will be facing up to Gale. We have a slip. Short third man. We have a cover. As Sachin circles, Gale runs away from us, passes umpire Young. In he go, bowl to Sachin, who is on the back foot there, trying to work it into the leg side. There is no run. Score remains on 8 without loss. It's Gale on the top of his mark. Runs away, passes the umpire. Bowl to Sachin, who is trying to pull that one around. Patrick is underneath it and he spilled the catch. It was a difficult chance there. The ball always going away from him. But you expect him to take it. But he has picked up an injury early. So That catch goes down. So the score move on to 9 without loss after the first over here at the Jimmy Powell Oval. For Northwestern to have a chance in this match, they need to take wicket. They need to hold on to their chances. They need to apply the pressure early on these Chillies batsmen. And it will be Marlon who introduce into the attack, sharing the new ball with Damian Gale. So it will be Marlon bowling to Sachin. In he comes, bowl to Sachin, who is working that one into the inside. As Mighty comes around, picks up, and they complete a single. Score moves on to 10 without loss in the second over. Second over bowled by Marlon Chateau. As there's a change in the field for the right-hander, as Aaron comes over to the covers. You have Omar Willis who is at slip. So it's Marlon who runs in to bowl to Baker. Because defense picked up by the bowler himself, and there is no run. So it's Marlon back at top of his mark as Baker waits. In he comes, passes the umpire, ball to Baker who swings and misses outside the half stump. White signal by the umpire there. So it's one more to the score. Score move on to the 11 without loss. They're in the second over here at the Jimmy Powell Oval. Chillies up against Northwestern. So it's Marlon who comes in, passes umpire, bowl to Baker. Baker who played that one between the cover field and the ball races toward the boundary, and it will into the boundary now for 4. So that's another boundary there for Baker, who is off to a good start. Move the score to 15 without loss in the second over. So Baker races on to 11. As Marlon runs in again, passes the umpire. Ball to Baker, who is playing that one down on the inside there, picked up by Wyatt. And there is no run. Score remains on 15. 15 without loss. So it's Marlon who tries again. Top of his mark. Turns. Runs in. Passes the umpire. And he comes. Bowl to Baker, who is driving that one again. He picked up there and a shy at the stump. As you get an overthrow there. So the batsman picks up 2. 2 more to Baker. He moves to 13. As the score moves on to 17 without loss. Over number 2, bowled by Marlon Chateau. He's at the top of his mark. Turns. Runs in. Passes the umpire. And he comes. Bowl to Baker. Baker who is flicking that one down the leg side, and that will runs away into the boundary now for 4. That's 4 more runs to Baker as Marlon stray down the leg side and Baker just help it on its way to the boundary. So Baker moves on to 17 as the score moves on to 21, and at the end of the second over. So brilliant start here by Chillies as they continue the momentum. And Northwestern need to find some wickets and find them pretty early. Omar is there signaling to his troops, moving around his feelers. So it will be Sachin who is on 2, and he will be facing up to Gale from the pavilion end. As the skipper makes sure his fielders are in the right position. Gales runs away from us, passes the umpire, and he go ball to Sachin who is defending onto the onside. He picks up 1, fielded there by Aaron. Score moves on to 22. 22 without loss, so we are in the third over. Third over ball by Damian Gale. So it's Baker who will be on strike, and he will be facing up to Gale. Skipper making sure the fielders are in the right position. As Baker circles, wait for Gale, who runs in. Ball to Baker, who is driving down there. Well stopped there by Shattahu, who have a shy at the stump. Brilliant work there by Shattahu. He score 1. So 1 more to the score. Here goes Gales again into Baker. Baker is flashing that one over the head of Wyatt as the ball race away towards the boundary. Now he pulls it back. They came back for 2. So 2 more to the score. 2 more to Baker. Well, the scores move on to 24. 24 without loss as Gale runs away from us. In he go, ball to Baker, and Baker is playing that one into the onside there, picked up by Aaron. And there's no run. Score remains on 24 without loss. We are in the third over. Still in brilliant sunshine here at the Jimmy Powell overs. Gale goes in, ball to Baker, who is playing that one over the short third man as the ball chickles away into the boundary now for 4. So 4 more runs again to Baker. He's on a mood. He's in fine form. So that delivery was too short, too wide. Outside the half stump. Free hit there for Baker. So it's Gale again as he tries. Passes the umpire into Baker again, and Baker flash it outside the half stump. And to another wide delivery. And Baker misses out. And there's no run. He remains on 23. The score is 28 without loss. after 3 overs. So Northwestern need to settle down, try get a few quick wickets. So Chillies is off to a brilliant start after 3 overs, 29. Welcome back, my co-commentator, back with us here.
Hey, Dennis, good to be back. And as you can see, Chillies off to a flyer. And as I suspected, it would not be a big challenge for them, this 104 that was on the board. The very explosive top half of the Chillies batting. If they get off to a flyer, it's going to be very difficult for Northwestern to rein them in. And as you can see, it's already 29 runs on the board and only 2 overs. 3 overs gone. So as you can see, it's going at almost 10 runs and over at this stage, chasing 104. I just don't see how it's going to be easy for Northwestern to curtail this run flow. And Marlon starts with a wide down the leg side, promising young bowler. And one thing we can say, Dennis, is that Northwestern has a history of giving youngsters an opportunity, and it's really good to see.
Yes, Marlon, very young, inexperienced, but as time goes on.
That's a lovely shot through the offside there by Sachin, and the fielder is at deep cover. This limits the score to 1. And on that topic of young players, we see on the bench, over the Northwestern bench, there's the under-19 captain, Antoine Eiffel, who is also a very good prospect for the Cayman Islands and has already burst into the senior team. And another player in the Northwestern camp that we think will be a part of the future of Cayman Cricket. So Northwestern harnessing the young talent. Young Marlon here giving the ball early in the innings to get the experience to bowl to the likes of Baker, who is the national team opening batsman, and Sachin, who played his cricket in Sri Lanka for many years and now applying his trade here in the Cayman Islands. And the young bowler is now getting an opportunity to bowl to them. And earlier, we saw young Wyatt, who is only about 15 years old, opening the batting for Northwestern. And I can see young Eiffel, he's sitting in the changing room. Even though he's not playing today, he's a part of the Northwestern camp. And he's a very good player, looking for big things to come from him. And so he's one of the players who, I think he's been overshadowed by the side screen, but he's sitting on the platform. He's sitting on the platform with a couple of his teammates, Jalen and another national bowler, Ronald Ebanks. And young Eiffel, he's another player we're looking to see what he's going to come from him in the future. And here's Marlon, up and bowls to Sachin, good delivery, straight on the stump. Sachin went for a big heave straight down the wicket, but then just edges that one through the onside. Again, so we have to give credit to Northwestern, who is continuously trying to promote the youths. And in this division, I think that's a very, very important thing.
Yes, you have the Wyatt, young Wyatt, with a very bright prospect. Good prospect for the national team. You have Antoine, who is on the bench, maybe nursing some injury.
Yeah, we need to let the crowd know.
So I think Northwestern missed him out a bit.
Yeah, I think he's a massive miss because he is a fine player. He is suffering from a shoulder injury, but it's good to see him out supporting his team regardless of the fact that he's not in the 11. And looking at young Marlon here, is a nice, easy rhythm to the crease. A lot of energy towards the ending of his run-up. I'm sure with a little bit of work, we'll get him bowling consistently and bowling very well. He turns up every week, so he's a player that has a bright future, I think, in cricket. And hats off to Northwestern for giving him the opportunity on this stage to bowl to these top order players who play for the national team. It all goes well for the young man.
Yes, and to see that the skipper have such confidence in him, giving him the new ball, that will actually, help him to believe in himself and, to try to do his best.
And the ball through the offside there by Bacon. That's coming back for a second run. And Troy Taylor does the fielding in the boundary on number 35. That's Troy Taylor, the over number 4. At the end, the scores are now 34 without loss. And still, I believe Chillies are going at a pretty good rate at this point. And barring something special, I think this is an easy way to basically get to the finish line. Northwestern needs something special now. I think there may be a time to call on captain, to call on Troy Taylor.
Yes, Northwestern will require another spell from Gale, which he has done a few weeks ago. Picked up a fifer for nothing, but let's wait and see as he goes in bowl to Sachin. Sachin is playing that one into the offside. Picked up a single.
And that's all that's required at this stage. Sachin does not really need to do anything expansive at this stage. It's just easy, simple cricket shots, push the ball into the gaps. There's no real pressure on the scoreboard at this point. They're going at a pretty fast rate. 4.1 overs, already 37 runs on the board. Chasing 104. Pretty good wicket to bat on. They're in full control here, I think, Dennis.
Yeah, and Baker, who is in fine touch, a national player, national opener for the Cayman Islands. He's in very good touch as he waits for Gale, who runs in bowl to him, and he's flashing that one over cover.
Beautiful
and
shot
that
over
one
extra
will
cover.
Go into the ball, and that's
All
6.
the way from, it's one bounce. Lovely shot by Baker. And again, if you're going to be bowling short, it's got to be straight at the batsman. It can't be room. And I think that's a mistake there. You've got to be bowling to Baker straight into his body if you're going to be bowling that length. And that's not the length that's required. As you can see from the innings of when Chillies was in the field, they bowled that hard length just in front of the batsman, back of a length, but it wasn't short. That occasion was just a bit too short and a bit too much room. And now that's full to the batsman, but a better line. And Baker hits that one down the ground, takes a single. Again, no pressure on the batting team at this stage. And they're just sort of running away with this at this point. With 42 runs on the board, and it's only over number 4, going over number 5. So this should be quite a counter to the end.
Yeah, you can see that Chillies is on a canter right now. As that one pulls around there by Sachin, and that rushes into the boundary for another 4.
Lovely shot there by Sachin. Brilliant shot. And again, it's too short bowler. I think you could see clearly. Again, I think Western is missing the trick. You could pay attention to that innings of when Chillies was in the field. They've hardly ever bowled any short deliveries. It was always back of a length, but not short. And I think even the captain, Johnson, kept himself off because he realized that too much pace and short is not the way to go. You cannot be too short and you cannot be too full. In those hard areas, he's got more success on this pitch.
Yeah, that was way too short from Gale. As he runs away past the umpire again into Sachin, he comes, and that one is down the leg side. Wide signal by the umpire there.
The pressure is firmly on the bowling team at this point. And they're running off to a flyer. It's like 48 runs on the board. And only 5 overs. This is the 5th over, so almost halfway there. And at this stage, Chillies is firmly in the driver's seat. Another short delivery, pulled through the onside. There's a man at mid-wicket, so they'll come back for two. And I just think that length is just not the way to go on this pitch. And you know, Dennis, I'm concerned that he may overcompensate now and go too full instead of staying calm and hitting those areas that had so much success for Chillies in the first innings.
Yes, they could learn from the Chillies bowlers, to bowl back off the length, continue to bowl there. That's
much
it.
Better. Much better. Much better length. Good tidy work there by Paul Chin behind the stumps. Another player that we haven't seen for quite a while, but is back doing what he does best. He's one of the better wicket keepers we have on island. So it's good to see him playing. But nice tidy work there. Umpire says not out, but I think for a minute there they were in with a shout.
Yes, very close, very close. Brilliant work there by Chin. As usual behind the stump. Former national keeper.
And at this stage, Dennis, you have to say, Chillies is really, really on a canter here. 5 overs down. What seems to be 49 runs on the board already, almost at the halfway point of the score of 104 runs. And young Marlon continues to bowl from the far end here at Jimmy Powell. Bowls to Baker, who is full delivery, and missed that completely. Hit him on the back leg, the back thigh. Seems to be in a bit of pain. And again, the line is important. And even when it's full, Baker does not seem to be as comfortable when the ball is straight through to his body line. And young Marlon, I hope he's taking note of this. Any room to Baker gets dispatched, but bowling straight is a much better option.
Yeah, that one tucked him up a bit, hit him on the leg.
Again, another straight delivery that is not as confident. Baker playing with the ball straight to him. He looks a lot better when you give him extra room outside the off stump. So, not bad by young Marlon. Again, this experience must be invaluable to a young player like that, Dennis.
Yes, and to give him the new ball, running in, give him a lot of confidence, help to build his morale,
Agreed. He comes in again, bowls to Sachin, gives him oh wow, lovely shot through the offside. Brilliant shot by Sachin. Again, as we said earlier, if you're going to be bowling full, you can't be wide of the off stump. It's such an easy wicket to bat on. Young Sachin just hits through the line of that delivery through the offside, and it raced away to the boundary for 4. And after bowling such a fine first few deliveries, Marlon has got to be careful here because Chillies is scoring at a pretty fast rate, and the idea is to keep composure and keep bowling that back of a length line and length. So here we go again. Not bad. Not a bad adjustment by the young man. That's much better. At least he's thinking. That's what you want to see, Dennis. You want to see young players getting the opportunity, but in the moment thinking about what they're doing and end up making the right decisions. Cricket is one of those sports where if you're not put in that scenario many times, you tend to not know what to do when the time is right. But this is good from young Marlon.
Yeah, and he bowled that one into the wicket, and you see he get a better result there.
That's a beautiful shot through the onside by Baker, who's hit that beautifully for 4. And someone needs to have a word with young Marlon here to just ask him to calm down a little bit and stay patient and keep hitting those good areas. And batsmen are allowed to play good shots, but if you do the right things more times than not, you will get the rewards. But I think right now he's a little bit all over the place, and that line to a player such as the caliber of Baker is not going to work. So he's got to go back to that back of a length straight to Baker in order to reduce the scoring opportunities.
Yeah, Baker is in a hurry here.
And a wide signal there by the umpire, and the batsman came through for a single. And again, Chillies get off to an absolute flyer here at 59 runs on the board already in over number 6.
And that had to some indisciplined bowling also, you know.
Yeah, what started out to be.
You know, so you can't give away so much extras in these low-scoring games. So the bowlers need to be more disciplined.
And you've hit on a very important point there, Dennis, because in the innings earlier, Chillies did not give away a lot of extras. And it proved to be important in the end. Young Marlon completes his over. Started out pretty well, but a few loose deliveries there that end up being... We should be able to get a shot of young Antoine at some point. I would love to give him a little bit of a moment here. That's the young man. Give him a moment. Northwestern has a... The young man is there, is doing his job on the boundary. That's the young man. He's the under-19 captain. And he's one of those players that we're looking for the future to be a very important part of our history. And there he is. The young man has a shoulder injury and playing his part. But Northwestern, as I said before, always seems to be giving youngsters an opportunity. And it's great to see young Eiffel with the team, regardless of the fact that he's nursing an injury. Such an important player for Cayman Islands. Nursing a right shoulder injury, as I'm told, but not far away from coming back. And we're excited to see that he's here and may end up back into the team at some point. But hats off to a Northwestern.
Yeah, and we have Willis now who is in the attack. And he will be bowling to Baker, who is...
Oh, that's brilliant.
Loud appeal there from the bowler.
Dennis. I would say that's really close. It's a good start by Willis. I hit the back leg. And maybe just doing a little bit too much. But it's a brilliant start. Good length, good line. And Omar again goes in. And I think he's pretty, lovely delivery. It's good action. And Baker tucks that one into the onside. Get off strike. I think that's actually the best thing for Baker at this stage because I'm not sure he's picking up Omar Willis very well. Pace off the ball. He seems to love pace on the ball, Baker. So that's why at the top of the innings, in the power play, he's so crucial. But now the spin is on, pace off. It doesn't look as comfortable, Dennis.
Yes, and Omar doing a good job so far. His first 2 deliveries. You can see back of the length of the pitch. And, you know, Baker loved the ball coming onto the bat. So we see the challenge now. It's Sachin. Faces up to Omar.
That's well bowled. That is well bowled. I think he was deceived by the flight there and the lovely delivery. The pace of the delivery was good. And again, this pace off makes me now think that maybe Northwestern should have been a little bit more proactive and make this change a lot earlier. Even in the power play, I think taking pace off the ball may have done the trick. Oh, that's a beautiful shot. Beautiful shot by Sachin, and that's gone all the way for 6. Again, the length is crucial in that delivery. It's too full, and all Sachin had to do was to just get to the pitch and hit through the line of the ball, keeping his shape. And it's gone all the way for 6, and after a very promising start by Omar Willis, Sachin has now taken charge of this over. The big 6, wide up long on. And I think that has all to do with the length on that occasion, Dennis.
Yes, and you see, he never tried to hit it too hard, as what the Northwestern batsmen do. He just, ball was much fuller and he just played through the line. And it went all the way for 6.
It's a very good point, Dennis. When you think about Mighty, for example, who another shot down the ground, a brilliant work there in the deep. There's some controversy as to whether or not that ball went for 4, but seems to be a good save for 2. And if Dennis, if we're thinking back to the Northwestern innings when Mighty was batting and he kept trying to hit the ball so hard, never got any umpire signal 4 on that delivery. And I think what we thought was a very good save, apparently some controversy, but that's okay. At the end of the day, the umpire signaled 4, so 4 to Sachin. So this over has started off well, now 6 under 4, and it's just continuing to be a counter. Again, another shot over mid-wicket, and that's gone all the way as well. That's gone all the way again for 6. So what started out to be a very positive over turned out to be one of the biggest overs of the innings so far. And
Yeah, and it seems like Chillies trying to get these runs in a hurry. It's now 80 without loss.
And Dennis, you see, this is to our point earlier when Mighty was batting for Northwestern and trying to hit the cover off the ball. It was not what was required. It's a much different prospect when you keep your shape and basically hit through the line of the ball, similar to what Sachin is doing here. He's not trying to overhit the ball, as you can see.
Yeah, brilliant example. You don't have to try to muscle the ball. Just play proper cricket shots, play through the line of the ball, and you get a result.
It's such a good wicket.
So Sachin and Baker doing well here for Chillies. And we have a change in bowling. Seems like it's Mighty. Mighty pick up the attack and he will be bowling to Baker.
It's coming from the far end, and Baker, who is already off to a flyer, seems to be already on 38 runs. And Sachin is there on 35, so it's a score of 80 without loss. And you just kind of felt when Northwestern were batting that 104 was just not going to be enough on such a good wicket against such a powerful batting lineup as the Chillies batting lineup. You just knew that 104 just would not be enough, and it's proven to be exactly that. After over number 7, there's already 80 runs on the board. We're almost there, and we've just barely got out of the power plays. So this is really good going here by Chillies. And Northwestern have only themselves to blame at this stage for not approaching this game as tactically astute as is required, and didn't react very well in that innings, that first innings, Dennis.
Yes, well said. And Northwest have themselves on the back foot from early, and they haven't been recovered. And Chillies, it's just like a walk in the park for them, as the game is out of Northwestern hand at this time. It's 80 without loss.
The thing about T20 cricket is that you want to put runs on the board, but it's got to be in the context of the pitch. Got to be challenging enough to make the opposition do something out of context in order to put some pressure. Right now, it's such a good wicket, and the score is not that big. There's not much risk that is required from Chillies. All they really need to do is to play simple cricket, normal cricket shots, and they'll get there in the end. And just exactly what Baker and Sachin is setting up to do right now. They're not really taking much risk. And so far, they have not given any chances. But the old commentators curse. You may see one in the next minute or so. But anyway, that's a wide by the bowler. Another run being added to the score. 81 runs. And there's only 7.2 overs bowled.
And these extras, it doesn't help Northwestern in no way, as that one is in the air and it's
a lovely shot by
all the
Sachin.
way.
And that's gone all the way for 6. What a beautiful shot that was. Again, length, the crucial thing in that delivery, too full. And the bowler just went up into the arc. Again, Sachin just holding his shape and just hitting through the line of the ball, not trying to overhit the delivery. And that's just a massive difference between the batters of Chillies and the batters of Northwestern. Again, another full delivery, hit down the ground to young Marlon, who Sachin takes 1. And he's now outscoring Baker. Dennis, that's amazing. Dennis is usually considered the aggressor. I mean, Baker is usually considered the aggressor.
Yes, Baker, who was out to a flying start, Now it's Sachin who is doing the bulk of the work, bulk of the scoring.
And he's now within touching distance of a half century. Well deserved. I must mention that he's already scored 3 half centuries this season, so he is in a fine run of form, Sachin. So this is not out of as a matter of fact, it's sort of expected of him now to be scoring every week. So this is pretty normal stuff for Sachin at this stage. He's batting quite well this season, and he's already on 42. Here we go now. It's not a straight delivery. Hits down to the ground, jogs through for 1, moves on to 43, but he's in touching distance of another half century. I watched him make 72 2 weeks ago. Quite a brilliant knock, and gave away 100, I believe. So he's in a fine run of form.
Yeah, he seems to be in a blistering form at this time. And there's no stopping him at this moment. He's on 43, Baker is on 39. It's 91 without loss.
And the partnership is already 91 runs off just 48 deliveries, Dennis. This is an amazing partnership. I tell you what, it's so good to see because they're not really worried about playing within themselves and watching. They're just playing normal cricket, and they're definitely on top here. It's a 91-run partnership of 48 deliveries. That's pretty good going.
Yeah, and that is what required, just normal cricket, no pressure. But good partnership of 91 of 48 deliveries. You couldn't ask for a better start from your openers.
As a neutral, Dennis, I would love to see him get to his half century in this over. He's such a lovely lad. He's a good guy, you know. He's one of maybe 4 brothers from Sri Lanka that are here in Cayman. And you don't want to meet a nicer set of people. Very nice guys, good players, good cricketers, from good cricket heritage, good cricket background, but lovely guys nonetheless. And he's really in a fine form this season, and it's so good to watch him bat. Lovely player through the offside, and really composes himself very well at the crease.
Yeah, it's good to see getting some runs under his belt. Very good.
Absolutely. You know, Dennis, just to notice that Troy Taylor, who is an opening bowler for the national team, has not bowled this innings. I'm just wondering if he's carrying an injury. Is there anything that you're aware of? I don't know anything that's going on, but he hasn't bowled. And in this game, you would think that someone like Troy would be crucial to Northwestern getting back into this game.
Yes, I don't know if he's going through any injuries. Usually he would be taking the new ball.
Absolutely.
But it seems like something must have happened.
He's standing there short mid-wicket. Quite a fine player, Troy Taylor. And one of the better bowlers on island, so I was surprised not to see him bowl in this game. Baker there missing out on a short delivery. Gregory Smith is now in the attack and started out with Troy Taylor is in that broad rim hat at mid-wicket, and he is a fine bowler. A lovely shot through the onside by Baker for 1. Yeah, as I was saying, we would have thought that with such a small score on the board, that Troy Taylor would have been a key man for Northwestern. And number 35, Troy Taylor, is a key bowler in general in Cayman Islands. He's a national team opening bowler. I was just wondering if he's carrying an injury, because he is a fine bowler and would have made a difference, I believe, in this bowling lineup. And Gregory bowls, and Sachin hits that one through the offside. He takes 2, moves his personal score up to 46, is he? Is he on 46? He's on 46 now. 4 runs from the half century.
As you see, Troy Taylor, he was just jogging towards that ball. He wasn't
and
moving.
Sachin hits that one
really
down the ground. It's a lovely shot.
And that's
a beautiful
50.
shot for 6, and that's his half century. A lovely knock by the young man. So good to see. Brilliant batting. Didn't give any chances. Came out positive. Allowed Baker to get away with the scoring. Then took over and just went absolutely berserk towards the last 2-3 overs of this innings. He's played a magnificent innings, Dennis. So good for the young man. So happy. This is probably his 4th half century this season. and he's in a fine run of form, and it's really lovely to watch. As a neutral, this is fantastic cricket.
Good cricket, good innings there from Sachin. Brilliant batting there from the young man.
I think he deserves his moment, and that's a fine innings. He is so positive from ball one, and it's really in a fine run of form. Took over from Baker after Baker went off to a flyer, and just composed himself and just basically carried his innings very nicely. And here we go now. Baker hits that one down the ground. There's not an opportunity for him to get a half century as well, because there's not much runs left to get. But I think this opening partnership really displayed some fine batting, Dennis.
Yeah, brilliant batting from the Chillies opening batsmen Baker and Sachin.
You can see the scores is already 105, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, one run away.
One run again, and it's hit
That
him,
should
and
be
that's
the
gone for
game.
6.
That should be the game.
And the game is
And
over.
that should be
Baker's got his
Baker's half century. Right?
He had to hit a 6 off the last ball in order to get to 50, and he did it. This is a lovely spell of batting, fine batting by these two young men. And Chillies has wrapped this up in fine form. It's a beautiful finish to the game. And after 9.2 overs, Chillies have disposed of Northwester in fine form. These two batsmen, Dennis.
And
what a lovely win for Chillies.
And what a way to finish the match. There would be no better way with that 6 from Baker to bring up his half century.
This is fantastic. What a lovely approach to this innings. And hats off to Chillies. They've been so good tactically from ball one. They were brilliant in the field. They reduced Northwester, got rid of their danger man very early. Patrick Heron went off tactically, just stifled the innings of Northwestern, made sure that they didn't get off to a flyer, that Northwestern innings, and then basically just wrapped it up in the end, and then came out in the second innings and absolutely obliterated the bowling of Northwestern. Sachin getting to his 50, and then Baker off the last delivery, hitting that for 6, also getting to a 50, and unbroken open partnership, 106 without loss, a 10-wicket win here by Northwestern. What a beautiful game we've had here today.
Yes, well said, a partnership of 111 of 9 overs. Good win for Chillies. They have Northwest under pressure from the second over the match, and them apply it all the way. Take it over in the second innings. So with some brilliant batting from Baker and Sachin, who bring the innings home.
We could go back to the bowling of Larry, and a key moment when Edwards got rid of the danger man Heron. I think that was crucial. And also when they got rid of the likes of Sunil after he built a partnership with young Wyatt, I just saw that those key moments caused the Northwestern team not to get to a very good total in the end. And at the end of the day, I think Chillies played an absolutely perfect game today. While I must say that they were allowed to in some instances, they've got to be given credit for the work that they've put in today. What a lovely execution, both with the ball and with the bat. And it was just a fantastic display of cricket from Chillies.
Yes, and how destructive Aaron can be, and to get rid of him early after he show his intention earlier. So getting rid of Aaron was a very key moment in the game. And from there, Northwestern never recovered.
Look at the charts. You can see at no point was Northwestern ever in the game. Once Chillies started to bat, and that first over went, it was just all Chillies all the way to the end. You could see those worms separating themselves quite obviously. You could see the difference, and absolutely did not lose any wickets and just kept distancing themselves from Northwestern. And Chillies just executed so well in this game. And it's just really have to give credit where it's due. And there's so many good players. Look at those Manhattans. You could clearly see the size of the Manhattans from Chillies in red. You can see how big those overs are compared to those of Northwestern, who just seemed to meander along all through the innings. The biggest over was over number 1 when Heron went crazy. The blue bars is Heron going after Edwards in that first over. And once that was done and Heron was out, then they just never seemed to get going until over number 17, where they scored maybe 9 runs. But from there on, it was all Chillies. And even with the batting, Chillies got off to a flyer and they never stopped, Dennis.
Yeah, you can see those towers there for Chillies in the batting. You know, they're standing tall above the Northwesters.
And here's a summary of the game. And you can see Omar Willis did play a good innings of 33, but it came at a run of ball. And Wyatt also 20 and at 31 and T20 in such a good wicket. You've got to score a little bit more, and the 120s, 130s at a minimum. Edwards bowled well. Larry was fantastic. 13 runs off his 4 overs with 1 wicket. Also, Dar chipped in the leg spinner, taking 1 wicket for 18 runs off his 3 overs. Edwards fantastic at the beginning with getting rid of Heron. 3 overs, 1 for 16. And then in return, Sachin, a blistering 52 of 24 deliveries. Baker, no different, 50 of 32. And also the bowling of Gregory, nothing to talk about from the bowling side of things for Northwestern. They were wicketless, and at the end, Chillies were 10-wicket victors. And what a fantastic game for Chillies, making a statement. And as you can see, player of the match, Sachin, for his lovely innings of 50 off 24 deliveries. Well deserved, I think, Dennis.
Yeah, very deserved man of the match there for Sachin. He played a brilliant innings. You know, he anchored the game for his team, and that was fantastic. Well played, Sachin, a brilliant innings. And can say well done to Baker. So it was very, very, very good innings there. So we have Chillies winning by 10 wickets here. Some brilliant batting from Baker and Sachin, who bring them home. So another good win there for Chillies. Northwestern never got going after the first over from Patrick, who gave them a good start. But after the dismissal of Patrick, they just keep going down, and they never really recovered. So 111 without loss. Chillies victory by 10 wickets.
Testing, Mike. 1, 2. Testing.
So we are standing by for an interview with Sachin, man of the match. Come. So just stay tuned for this interview.
Testing, record. Sachin. Come some more. Sachin, well played today. What a wonderful innings. You got to 50 out of 24 deliveries. How did it feel out there today?
Yeah, today is nice. It's a good game. I thought make 10 runs, yeah, like.
It was lovely to watch you bat. You were well in control of the innings. What was your thought process after the score 104 and getting out there to bat? What was your thought process when you approached your innings?
Yeah, we thought we need to make this opening wicket that runs. That's our plan. Yep. We got it.
And we've noticed that you scored now 3 half centuries in 5 innings. How does it feel to be in such a good run of form?
I'm very happy for that. I'm making practice every day when I have time. I'm making practice. That's a secret.
Well, it's really lovely to watch you bat, and I know you've trained really hard, and I can see that it's bringing fruit. So how is the impact on the team? What's the mood like in the Chillies team at the moment?
Yeah, we have good support from captain Demar and Larry. We have nice teammates. Yeah.
You seem very happy and it's lovely. Well, congratulations. You were awarded man of the match today for good reasons. 24 balls, 52 runs. Amazing. Good batting. Thanks very much.
And that will be our commentary for today. We thank you very much for joining us. And we do ask that you
Testing.
join us
All
again
good.
next week, Saturday.
Check. Mic check.
For, it looks
Welcome-
like we're gonna have
welcome.
another interview.
Demar, I'm here with Demar Johnson, and after a win by 10 wickets, that tactically you were hitting the wicket and making sure that Northwestern couldn't get off to a flyer and you kept the runnings in the lid for the entire time. On the field today, why you kept Northwestern just to 104?
All right, the plan was, our game plan was to get out Patrick Heron first, and we know if when we get Patrick Heron out, then we have a better chance. So meanwhile I'm working there, I was thinking like they're not getting away like spin and thing. So I just continue with it.
So you took pace off the ball and that seemed to work really well.
And that worked extremely well.
I noticed you didn't even bowl yourself. Is that a natural, that was a tactic by you just for the same reason?
Yeah, it's the same reason because as I said, what's working for you, might as well you just continue with it. I did it both.
Well done to your thoughts on Sachin. He's in such a fine run of form. This is the third half, 5 games. What's been the key to his success so far?
Sachin is our frontline batsman. Great player, and Sachin is just good overall. You understand? He could have asked for better.
And he's now how far do you think?
Chillies gonna go straight to the end and win this cup.
As you hear it for yourself, very positive from the captain, Demar Johnson. He's a very happy captain at the moment. A win by 10 wickets. He has a right to be happy. Northwestern today was obliterated by Chillies, and we're reporting live here. He's very happy. His batsmen are batting well. His team is bowling well, and we're going to be live next week again. Chillies, who are you with next week?
We're playing West Bay.
All right, Chillies versus West Bay. Remember to tune in. It will be an absolute cracker. Thanks and over from me. Bye.